Hey everybody, it's Ricky from All Sorts of Words. The channel's All Sorts of Words. I'm the guy, Ricky, and I'm freaked out. I wanted to just come on and I wanted to just talk about some stuff that I've been into this week. The last week, what I've been getting into, and no joke, I'm all nervous because my wife went to bed early, right? And I was watching movie trailers just to entertain myself before I was coming to the scheduled thing, and I saw this thumbnail in this horror movie. It's called Traumatica is the name of the horror movie, and that thumbnail is definitely a part of it. And if that vibe is not what you're looking for, that was what I saw right before I came through my dark ass house up to my dark ass room to film this video. So I am all sorts of iffy right now. But this is a new thing I'm doing on this channel. I wanted to try Comic Collector Coach. Thanks for stopping by, buddy. I wanted to try something new where I get an excuse to talk about some of the weird stuff I'm into because I have very questionable tastes, and I wanted to go over some of the at least one movie, one comic, whatever I've been doing. And so but for the people that are here, the people that are showing up, Richard, thank you for stopping by. For everybody that's stopping by tonight on this brand new Thursday show, it is important. It is important for the audience because we're going to play a long running game, folks. As I'm going through the things that I'm showing you, okay? As I'm going through the books, the comics, the movies that I talk about today, I need your feedback and I need your chatterbox. So here's what we're going to do. If I show you something and I tell you about it and it's fun and it's interesting and you want to learn more about it, or you definitely think it's something that's for you, I want you to let me know in the comments that you're in. This is legally binding, folks. This is a legally binding contract that you are committing to watch the movie, read the book. You're committing, and I want to hear your feedback, and I want you to send it to me on Instagram right below, right here at Ricky Cadabra. Send me what your feedback is on anything I talk about tonight, what you thought about it, and then in the following video, whenever you post it, whenever you send it to me, I will mention your comment in the next video and respond for sure. That's if you're in. So you're right. If you're in, if you like something, if you're just interested in it, you think it's tickling your fancy, maybe if it fell into your lap one day, great. Hit me with an interesting in the comment section. Hit me with an interesting, and I'll know that you're kind of mid on it. That's fine too. But if anything I talk about tonight is absolutely off your radar, if you hate anything I talk about tonight, you hit me with a please no. Tell me why. I want to hear from you. Comment section. Everybody, Matt likes comics. Comic Collector Coach. Matt likes comics. Lettuce Comics. Matt, Richard again. I will be better with the comment section. I'll get there. I promise, folks. But let's start. Let's start. What are we going to talk about first? So let's start with scary. I want to start with scary. Scary first. So the scary movie that I watched last week was from 2023, and it was called Strange Darling. Now, to tell you about this movie and to tell you about why you should watch it, I have to tell you a bit about myself. And being that you're here in this comment section, folks, I think you are probably geeks like me. So let me tell you. Well, Derek, get ready. So Strange Darling, I watch movies and I see the stories in them. You know what I mean? I see the working machines. I'm always looking for Chekhov's gun, Chekhov's rifle. If you don't know what that is, it's a principle in a play where if you mention something, it has to be important later on. You can't just fill the audience's head with useless information. So the name Chekhov's rifle means if there's a rifle introduced in the beginning of the story, it has to be fired by the end of the story. Okay. So I'm always looking for those little hints, those little what's being said now in the beginning of the movie that's definitely going to be important later. Okay. And so I play with my wife all the time this game about Chekhov's rifle, where I'll see something and I'll go, he did it. You know what I mean? Like I'll call it early on. And I call it Babe Ruthing. I'll call the shot. Like, I think this is how the movie's going to end. My fastest record for calling a movie was The Black Phone. If you haven't seen it, spoilers for a couple-year-old movie. The movie begins with a baseball scene where the kid, he's straight, steer right, get out of here, kid, and he fails. Okay. I knew I knew that the movie is going to end with this kid in the same baseball field getting the home run. It's going to show the growth over the course of the film. And it did. I felt like a big man. We had a guest watching the movie with us and they thought I was insane. They were like, how did you guess that? And I'm like, it's the game. But I'm telling you all that to tell you this. Oh, what? How? How did you guess it? No. So I'm telling you all that to tell you this about Strange Darling. I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how fast you are. This movie is designed from stem to stern to make you call out, oh, I know where this is going. And you're completely wrong. Oh, wait a minute. Wait. Oh, they did that. Okay. Now I know where it's going. You're absolutely wrong. And it does it several dozen times throughout the runtime of the film. And it's only about an hour and 36 minutes long. It's a great ride. It is shockingly gory. Here, I'm going to put up this for newcomers. I want to let you know what I'm talking about. It's shockingly gory enough that my wife, who doesn't like gore, commented on how much gore it was. You never know where it's going. And the movie is told in 6 chapters and an epilogue, and it bounces around. And so I think the movie begins with chapter 2, then it goes to chapter 5, then 3, then 1. It's all over the place, but you will have a great time with it if you're willing to let yourself be fooled. So Strange Darling, that's what I watched. Next thing I watched, we got to talk about Zatuichi, the Blind Swordsman. So first of all, I call this in the thumbnail, I call this a samurai movie. In as much as you would call a cowboy movie that doesn't have cowboys in it, a cowboy movie. Like, so cowboy in its literal sense is like a cattle driver. So a guy with a sick hat drives cattle across the United States to bring what food they will become and resources to a different part of the country, right? You know what I mean? It's like it's trucking of the 15th century. And 15th century? No. What, 18th century? 18th century. And so this is a samurai movie in that it takes place during the time of the samurai. Okay. So here, let me show you the box set. This is the Criterion collection of Zatuichi, the Blind Swordsman. This is a 25 movie long collection. I got this during the Criterion sale. Every July they have one. $100 got me all 25 movies. So it's in the time of the samurai, but it's not about samurai. Zatuichi himself is actually a yakuza, which is take what you know about the mafia, right? But replace everything having to do with family and replace it with duty and honor. That's the purpose of the samurai, or the yakuza rather. And I got to tell you, I bought this 25 movie set so that I could have an excuse to see a particular group of friends that I know appreciate it. And we're going to go through them one by one. So every couple months, we're going to watch one of these samurai movie. And let me tell you, so in Zatuichi, there's two warring clans, right? One clan has an older samurai. He's got like tuberculosis. Think Val Kilmer's character from Tombstone. And the other clan doesn't have any samurai. So this old samurai who's working with the clan who has tuberculosis, he's dying and he knows it. But still, a dying samurai is better than no samurai. So they contact Zatuichi, the one that doesn't have a samurai. They contact Zatuichi, and he's completely blind, and everybody doubts him everywhere he goes. But he is the best swordsman in the world, okay? And so now you have two people on semi-equal footing. You've got a blind guy who's a really good samurai, and you've got the guy with tuberculosis who's dying. I'm telling you all that because this movie's gay as hell. I'm not using gay in a derogatory term. I'm saying when I was watching this movie, I'm like, oh, this is a movie with a queer eye when it was made in 1963. This is a black and white film. I believe it was 62 actually. Okay, so there's not one but two single man on single man massage scenes. The first of which includes like an up the back shot of a guy laying on his stomach and just all thumbs butt cheek rubbing. Yes, I know that I know that sounds like I'm being silly, but like that is and that's in the first like 5 minutes of the movie. Later on, when the two samurai are getting to know each other, irrespective of their clans that hired them, they get intimate by having like they have tea. He goes over to the tuberculosis guy's house, they have tea together, and it leads to another back massage. Like, oh, you're my guest, let me give you a back massage. There is a girl that is infatuated with Zatuichi. She really loves what he's all about and his blindness, and he wants nothing to do with this chick. And furthermore, spoilers for a 45-year-old samurai film, but the two samurais are fighting. Zatoichi, the blind one, kills the other guy with kind of like a reverse riposte, right? Like, so he's like standing here, he swings his sword behind him, and he catches the other samurai coming up behind him, right? And that is like an excuse for him, the one in the back with tuberculosis, to die on his shoulder. His head is right here. And they share this intimate moment where they're just talking about life and wrapping things up. The movie's gay as hell. And so it's not a bad thing. I was surprised by it. I didn't see it coming. And my friends disagreed with me. They didn't see it. And I'm like, bro, there's two back massages. This guy dies on his shoulder. It's very intimate. I'm interested in seeing where it goes. It has this attached book in the set. Yeah, but it's 25 movies long. The thing you got to remember about Japanese filmmaking in the 60s and 70s, like I'm watching the Lone Wolf and Cub movies, and the 6 of them, and like multiple of them came out in the same year. Like the movies were so quick, they had the scripts, they knew what they were doing, so they would like bust these things out so quickly. But Zatuichi, 25 films, saw the first one, wild time. Now, here we go. This is a weird one. Nope. Speaking of gay, perhaps the gayest title in all of fiction, Captain Horatio Hornblower. He absolutely does not blow any horns in these books. I've read 2 of them. There are 11 of them. I don't know why, but in the 30s when these books came out, of the 11 books, he starts off as a midshipman and he works his way all the way up to admiral. But for whatever reason, the books were most popular when he was a captain. And it's books like 6, 7, and 8. 9, 10, 11 in the series is an admiral. But so I bought a box set of these books from the 30s. And it's Captain Horatio Hornblower, books 1, which is beat to quarters, which is a seaman term. I mean, I'm focused on making this cast as gay as possible. The second one, Ship of the Line. And the third one I haven't read yet, so I don't know the title. But I'll tell you, I like classics. I like a lot of weird books. I'll read literally anything. I love reading. But when it comes to these books, they're more interesting than they are good to read, than they are fun to read. They're not as fun as they are interesting. Now, oh man, I'm so glad it's just like me and you guys hanging out. I've been like wanting to talk about this and gush about this for so long. The cool thing about these books, okay, so they're an exhaustive examination of naval warfare. So what was naval warfare actually like? Okay. And what I didn't know is I'm raised on movies, man. You know what I mean? You too, probably. Raised on movies about ships fighting in the sea, Pirates of the Caribbean and Master and Commander and all that jazz. And how they characterize it is ship here, fire all your cannons. Whoever goes down first loses. That's what seafaring looked like, that in movies, at least with combat. in the Horatio Hornblower novels, they tell you about like what a protracted fight actually looked like in the 19th century with ships in the ocean, and it is wild. So, okay, you've got two ships on the ocean, right? You both fire all your cannons, you blow each other to smithereens, okay? It's no longer about who can load the cannons and fire again. That's not the point. The point is who can repair your ship fast enough so that you're no longer sinking and you're mobile to put yourself in a better position to then start firing. So you can have the best cannons in the world. You can have the best crew that knows how to reload those cannons, fire your grape shots, blow your enemy to hell. But when your mast goes down and their mast goes down, how fast are you at repairing your ship so that you can then move your ship and attack them again? And so it's less about the combat and it's more about learning how a ship works in the moment when you need to learn how the ship works. Like they don't spend 2/3 of the book telling you all the ins and outs of a ship, right? That's not the point. They tell you the story, and then as the ships are getting destroyed, now you need to know. So now we're going to explain to you the construction of the ship and how this works. They're fascinating books. Like I said, though, the stories they're just not very good. The first one, Beat to Quarters, had a fantastic story. It was they send him to Cuba to go meet with this warlord. And he meets with the warlord and he's on orders from the queen, and it's go steal this giant ship. So because the warlord needs this giant ship. So they go and they steal this giant ship and they give it to him. And then as they're heading back to England, they get a letter that says the queen made a deal with the other guy. So we need you to steal the ship back, and we need you to give the ship back to the guy we made the deal with. So now that you've just given this big fancy ship to this dickhead, now we need you to take it back. It sucks. So that's Captain Horatio Hornblower. I want to move on to Superman Up in the Sky. This one has a bit of a legend behind it, where apparently at a conference, there was Frank Miller, and he was talking to Tom King. And Tom King, he was kind of bemoaning Superman, calling Superman a boring character. And so Frank Miller publicly upbraided Tom King, saying, look, Superman's not a boring character. You just don't understand it. And that complaint that Frank Miller had to Tom King turned into him creating Superman Up in the Sky. How to characterize this. Okay, so you know how everybody tells you that if you're going to read Superman, especially with a new movie, if you're going to read any Superman books, the Superman book that you have to read is All-Star Superman, and they're not wrong. If someone came to me and said, you know, I know nothing about Superman, where should I start? You should start with All-Star Superman. But the second you finish with All-Star Superman, you should follow up, if you know nothing about the character, with Superman Up in the Sky. It is a little girl in Gotham City goes missing. And she's missing in a way that, like, it's clearly extraterrestrial. We don't know what alien took her. We don't know why the alien took her. All we know is that it began in Gotham. It was a foster home. An alien came, took this little girl, and pieced out. And Batman is bringing all of this information to Superman. He's saying, look, I've tracked as far as the mesosphere, and then it's gone. I don't know how to track this life form, but I do know that this little girl, she's like a 6-year-old little black girl, and she's gone now. So Superman, can you help? Superman realizes very quickly she's gone beyond the solar system. She's out of here. Talks to the Green Lanterns. They can't help. She's gone. And so now Clark is left with a real kind of conundrum. Like, they need me on Earth. Every other day, I'm catching a building from falling. I'm saving somebody from a trellis. I'm stopping a train from crashing. That's the job of Superman. If I leave to go find this little girl, who's going to be here to catch the buildings, save the guy from the trellis, and stop the train from crashing? And so he's having this conversation not just with Bruce. He's having this conversation with Lois. He's having this conversation with his parents and himself. How do I justify leaving Earth and all the people I save here to go save one little girl? And so it's the beauty of that story of him realizing, yes, no, one life does matter. You learned that very early on, don't worry. And then he goes off into space, and it's all the journey he has along the way to save this little girl. Spoiler alert. I'm not spoiling anything, trust me. It's about the journey. But the last issue, by the end, he has in fact saved the little girl. It is a fantastic fight. It's amazing. He does save the little girl. And for the entire last issue, he's traveling backwards all the way across the galaxy that he just traveled, revisiting people he met along the way. And this little girl's just asking him questions about being Superman. Beautiful questions like, Superman, do you know that you can't save anybody? You can't save everybody? And he goes, yeah, I know that. And she goes, does that mean you're ever going to stop? And he goes, no, I'm not going to stop. Oh, there you go. Please add it to your list. Please add it to your list, guys. Please add it to your list. You got to read this. Okay, but here's an interesting fact. Okay, so I just gave you the big pitch. Right? But here's the interesting one. This, if you ever see this in the wild, you see this in dollar bins everywhere. So 100-page comic giant Superman. This was a Walmart exclusive. Walmart was putting these types of comics. Hey, Derek. Walmart was putting these types of comics on shelves, okay? On their shelves in their store, and it's effectively just little slivers of different DC comics stuck into one bound volume, written generally enough that anyone can go, oh, Superman, and just read some stories about Superman, but they all do come from currently printed Marvel comics. What makes this one particularly unique, if you can see this, if you can get this, I mean, it takes one of the chapters from Superman Up in the Sky. As I told you, Superman was traveling across the galaxy and he's going to save this little girl, but he's going really, really far out. So far out, Green Lanterns aren't patrolling. He goes so far out that to make a phone call home, he has to wait in this intergalactic line of thousands of different aliens so that they can broadcast your voice across the galaxy so that they connect you via phone. It's like a weird telephone booth system that far out in space. He's on Deep Space Nine. So he's that far out, okay? He's having panic visions of what's happening back on Earth because he, for the first time in forever, maybe ever, he can't get home for a long period of time to help Lois if she's in trouble. And Lois is a troublemaker. Lois is always in the mix. So he's having these visions as he's waiting in this long line to make this phone call home. He's having these visions of like, Lois gets a package at the door and she opens it up and it's a bomb and she explodes. There's a creature that comes out of the ocean when she's in a helicopter and it plucks her out of the sky and snaps her in half and she dies. In the context of the story, right? It's Superman very far away. He's worried about his girlfriend or his wife at the time. He's worried about Lois and he can't get home to save her in the context of the story. When you chop that part out, that chapter where it's Lois in danger on every panel and you stick it in a book and sell it at Walmart, it turns into torture porn. And so parents were buying this for their kids and their kids are reading it. And every panel, not even every page of this chapter, every panel is Lois dying over and over and over again in these horrific ways. It's gross. And so they recalled the shit out of it. they took it off shelves, and it's not a rare book. It's not an incredibly valuable book. I'd say you could probably get it comfortably for like $10. If you can find it for $1, it's a steal. But as a collection, it goes really well. So the Superman Up in the Sky, all of these are parts of the story. This is great. He fights an alien that like he can't beat, but he beats him anyway because that's what he does. He has a race with the Flash issue. So if you're a collector of those Race with the Flash issues, this is absolutely like a different take on it. Darkseid does make an appearance. He is a great part. There's the little girl that he saves. And then this is a good compendium to it. So that's what I read last week. That's what I've been absorbing last week. You know what? Honest to God, I have to believe it was because like just corporate stooge type people. And it is a good story. It really is. It's even that one individual chapter. It's Superman panicked that he can't make a phone call home. When I first read it, I didn't know that was part of Up in the Sky. I'll be honest. I bought this because Key Collector noted it as like a weird type of key. Like, okay, there was a recalled book. If you look it up, if you look up Superman, 100-page comic giant in Key Collector, they'll identify it as a recalled book from Walmart. And so I was like, cool, I'll read it. And so I did. I read the book and or that story, and I thought it was, yeah, I understand why they recalled it. And then it wasn't until last week that I finally read Up in the Sky. And boy, howdy, in context, it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, it is a weird choice to put in that Walmart book. So that's what I read last week. That's what I watched last week. I've watched a whole lot more, but like I try to pare it down to some of the more interesting stuff. But what I just started today, I'll be finished with this by next week so I can talk about it. But I've gotten obsessed with Cyberpunk lately as a concept. And Neuromancer by William Gibson. If you played the Cyberpunk video game, Cyberpunk 2077, like I did, that's really what got me into Cyberpunk. It was a tabletop game in the 80s it was originally called Cyberpunk 2020. We're a little past that at this point. By Mike A. Pondsmith. And it establishes this kind of like, it's the future and technology's everywhere, but you're still poor, as is the way Lettuce Comics puts it, Hagen from Lettuce Comics, but he's absolutely right. It's the future, you have technology, but everybody's still poor. So like, yeah, you can put a technological, wizard eye in your face and you can have some really cool interfaces, but you can't afford the best eye. So you're getting the eye that your grandpa used to have that you tinker with. That's Cyberpunk. It's all a little gross. But I got into Cyberpunk because of the video game as a concept, and I really enjoyed it. And so now I want to go a little further. I want to go into the deepness, and I want to like, what are some Cyberpunk novels? Like Snow Crash is apparently one I have to read eventually, but they say the first Cyberpunk novel is Neuromancer by William Gibson. And okay, fine. It's fine. It's the first Cyberpunk novel. It's about people with technology going into cyberspace and shit like that. That's cool. What I didn't understand was they meant it. Cyberpunk 2077 lifts a ton of inspiration directly from this book, in ways that I didn't expect. So one of them being literally on page 2, they reference Night City. They call a city Night City. And if you know 2077, the entire game is set in Night City. So definitely a nod to that. They call jobs related to like breaking cybercrime Biz, B-I-Z. That is definitely all over Cyberpunk 2077. This book is just like, it's dripping with inspiration. But I have to admit, if you don't play the Cyberpunk 77 game, Cyberpunk 2077, and you get right into this, I think you're going to have a hard time. To make my point, I have to talk about Game of Thrones for a second. Please bear with me. I'm a nerd. This is how our brains work. The first time I ever experienced Game of Thrones, I was watching the TV show. I hadn't read the books yet. I got to like season 2, and I wanted to know what was happening next. So I decided to read the Game of Thrones books. Years before, I tried to read Game of Thrones, but there are way too many characters at first for me at my reading level at the time, and it was difficult for me to understand what was happening in the book. But after watching 2 seasons of Game of Thrones and then going into the book, it made it a lot more palatable. Like all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, I know who that guy is. I was able to put faces to names effectively. This book is written in almost such a specifically gibberishy way that like it's difficult to follow. The slang is so ingrained that like you okay. Here. I have to say this. If there are any readers listening out there, when you're a reader, one of the magic tricks of reading is that you eventually forget that you're reading. Like there's a mechanical process of your eyeball scanning a page, reading words, and then assembling them in your brain at lightning speed. Reading is actually a bit of a magic trick if you think about it. Like if I say to you right now, the dog was yellow, right? You're doing so much work in your brain right now to assemble those words together. The dog, noun, is present tense, yellow, color. The dog is yellow. You have now yellow dog in your head. But that dog is specific to you envisioning it. Are you picturing a dog you had as a kid? Are you picturing a generic cartoon dog? Are you picturing cat dog? Like there's so much that happens when you read, right? But the magic trick of reading is that when you're reading a good book and you really fall into it, all of a sudden the words melt away and you kind of come up for air. You snap out of it for a second and you realize that you just pictured everything you were reading and now it makes more sense. That's the magic of reading. That's why I love reading so much. This book is difficult in that it is so saturated with those types of isms. And here, I'm literally just going to read something random from the book. I'm just picking something random. I haven't even gotten that far. Okay. His gloved hand slapped a panel and the bass heavy rock steady of Zion dub came pulsing through the tug's speakers. No, I talk with Ariel. He certain did see it in similar light. I know it sounded like I tripped over that, like I've got dyslexia. I'm telling you, it comes off like gibberish. It really does come off like gibberish. And so if you've played the game Cyberpunk 2077 and then you jump into this book, this becomes an extension of the game and it brings you deeper into the universe. Like I can pretend that the Night City he's talking about here is the Night City in the game. I can pretend it's the whole universe and I love it. I really sincerely enjoy reading this now that I've played the game. I bet if I had just picked this up a couple months ago and I was reading it just as a reader, I feel like it would have been really difficult. And if you look at the reviews, you'll see the same thing. People saying it's a very difficult read. I had a rough time with it. So that's what I've been doing. Okay, so we are going to wrap up relatively soon, but I want to check in with you guys in the chat real quick. This is an excuse for me to just kind of like not be so rude when I'm on other people's podcasts and chats and stuff, because I feel like I could just go for hours about any topic. And so every week I want to go into what I've been reading and watching and just share that with you guys, share my love for this stuff. One, because I really got to get it out of me. Two, I don't have anyone else to talk to with about this stuff. I really don't. I love reading. I love writing. I love comics. I love video games. I love old samurai movies, but like no one in my life will entertain this type of conversation. So I really appreciate each and every one of you for stopping by, even if it's just for a couple minutes to hear me rant. This stuff is awesome. This stuff is fun. If anybody has anything they want to add at this moment, we've been going for half an hour. I do want to do these longer and longer, but like, yeah, I appreciate you guys. And I like this new chat feature. Look at this under Will Smith. Everybody's on the screen over here. There it is. That's cool. I paid for like the premium StreamYard. This shit's expensive, yo. Golly. I went back to StreamYard after a while and I was like, let me hop on StreamYard and I'll get the premium again. And you know, they got these cool features. I love the little chat over here. This is sick. But yeah, it's like $85 a month. And I was like, okay, I'll pay for like 2 months and see how much use I actually get out of it. Big Nasty, you appreciate Richard. I got to tell you, I'm going to throw you up here. Richard, I appreciate you so much. So here's the deal. My wife was asking me the other day, She was like, do you care if people buy your book but don't read it? Because we have like friends and family that buy the book and they don't read it. And no, I don't care. So if you didn't know, statistically speaking, books sell the most copies in November and December. They sell 80% of all of the books sold in the year in November and December, because books are typically gifts for people. Okay. And it's people not buying people who don't read, buying books for people who don't read because they look fun in your house. And it's part of the culture of having a little library in your house. And so, oh, yay. Thanks, Lonnie. And so I just want to put my stuff out there. I have this dream of dying. I don't have the dream of dying. I have this dream of being like old and retired and like having one shelf in my library in my house and being like, I did all of that. And so I've got so much writing that I want to do. And you look, this is the part of the stream where like I could end it any minute. So I'm just being like painfully honest to anybody still sticking around. There are moments where this is so much anxiety. There's a lot of anxiety involved in this. Like, I made my room look like this, right? So that it can be a little more vibrant on camera, right? So that I can have an environment that looks like a streaming environment, okay? The side effect of that is if I'm feeling anxious or overwhelmed and I don't want to be on camera, like that goes along with it. If I'm feeling any of those negative emotions towards this hobby of making videos, my entire goddamn life has been designed to facilitate making these types of videos. Do you feel me? So like, if I haven't made a video for 2 weeks and I'm feeling anxious, like, oh God, what do I say? What do I want to say? Do I want to do anything? Do I want to put myself in front of the camera? Do I feel fat today? Any of that shit. Your room that you built reminds you that it's something you haven't done in a while. The comics that you displayed in the background that look good on camera, it doesn't feel good so much anymore. This is a weird hobby, man. And it's hard to think of it like a hobby because like so many people make like a living off of this. But I'm not. I'm a dude. And then there's the terror. You know what? Now we're really getting into it. Then there's like the terror of making YouTube videos. I'm a normal human with a normal human job that works with the public. And I'm not picking a political side here, but like, can we all admit that it's terrifying that you could say something stupid on camera and fuck up everything? Like ruin your entire life? That's terrifying. Especially if you, and this is just random thought, especially if you smoke pot and then like 2 hours later you go on a live stream to talk about comic books. Boy, howdy, you could a slip of the tongue and your life is ruined. That's spooky stuff, man. I think about that all the time. And to the point where, here's a bonus thought of me rambling. I have a moral issue with using my money to support the Disney Corporation. I have a really detailed personal beef, not like, you know, they do X, Y, and Z with their company, but like I have a personal beef with them based on their policies regarding people with disabilities in their parks and giving away fast passes, something that they don't like to do anymore. I have a personal beef with them because of family members that I have. I don't talk about that shit on camera, but it's true. And I had a whole 40-minute long expose only talking about public information, no conspiracy shit about like, here's their policy on X, Y, and Z. Here's why I have an issue with Disney. And I had a whole script going. It was going to be like a 40-minute video about their policies. And at one point in time, a number of years ago, my company had a partnership with the Disney Corporation. And so I legitimately thought to myself, like, am I going to be the guy that makes a video shitting on Disney because I don't like their policies, or I don't like their characters, or don't collect their comic books, XYZ, and then have that come back and it's Disney calling my employer saying, hey, this guy, he said some stuff, he's got to go. That's spooky. This whole thing is spooky. And you know what? I think I'm going to be honest. I think I kind of went off on this tangent because we're talking about Cyberpunk and this like integration of technology and life. And right now I'm connected to 9 awesome people who are sticking around and watching. And, you know, if this video gets like 100 views or something like that, those are people that are connected to me in one way or another, good, bad, or indifferent. And you're putting yourself out there and it's awkward, dude. It's so awkward. Like the number one job that kids want today when they interview kids in elementary school and they say, what do you want to be when you grow up? The number one job they say is like YouTube personality. And it's because they only have the experience of watching these top 10 YouTube videos with these big productions and the millions of dollars, and the reality of grinding out a channel in a room that looks like this on a Thursday night at 9:41. It is kind of spooky. But I sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you to everybody that showed up tonight. This is definitely janky. I'm just starting this shit, where I take more of my own destiny in my own hands, and I really just talk about what I want. And I do want to hang out with other comic creators. I do want to hang out with other people, and I do want to be more involved with everybody in the chat. I really, really do. But I can't do it unless I continue to keep putting myself out there. And that's the journey that we're also on. This is the meta commentary. You're here so that we can talk nerdy shit and comics and stuff, but like the meta commentary beneath it all is like, this is some wild stuff that we're talking about right here. And Big Nasty, everybody. And look, you guys are early adopters of this new journey I'm on. And so I can't make this clear enough. I am going to end it here, but I can't make this clear enough. Each and everybody in the chat, I would absolutely love to have you guys come on and just hang out. Of course I would have you on camera if you ever want to. And I put up the image anytime. Golden ticket pass for everybody in here. If you've ever seen me put the thumbnail up on Instagram or on YouTube here saying, hey, show tonight at 9. They're going to be 9:00 on Thursdays. I already worked out with the wife. We're good. 9:00 on Thursdays. You ever want to join, you just send me a message on Instagram. I paid for the $85 a month version of this bullshit. So like I can have so many people on here. I would love to host some people on here that want to. I know Big Nasty's going to be all about it. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for stopping by. I love you guys. Thank you for letting me rant. Oh, see, you got to